Welcome back to Jerry's Studio. My name is Emmy Kline and this is Jerry's Open Studio Hour. This is essentially me just doing my job. I'm the resident artist here, and so I'm going to be painting and working on a project that has been requested of me, in my everyday job here at Jerry's. So it's going to be an interesting one. And I'm probably going to need your help. So I'm going to get the chat pulled up on my little iPad over here to where I can see what you guys are talking about. And let me get that started. I have to reload this. I also have my moderator Amanda over here as well, just to make sure that I don't miss any questions that come through. Here we go. Found it. It's loading. All right, so switch over where I can see them. All right, Paulo, hello, hello. Welcome back to the chat. All right, so I am working on a very interesting project today. So I have been requested to do a painting for a specific set of colors in oils, right? And the set that I'm currently working with are these greens. So I have Bohemian Green Earth, this is Phthalo Green, this is Sap Green, and then I have a Viridian. Now, I've been asked, because this is the set that, we're putting together, to do a piece of art showcasing these colors. And I was asked to do a hard edge painting. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with hard edge paintings. Hard edge paintings are essentially where you lay down like a piece of tape or some kind of a guide, and then you paint on top of that, pull off the tape or whatever it is that you laid down, and you have the perfect straight edge. And the idea is to have perfectly straight, sharp edges. That is so hard to do with oils. Just because they don't dry so fast like acrylics do. So that was kind of the idea, because people, who aren't artists, they look at a style of painting and they go, I really like this, can we do this? And then it's my job as the resident artist to go, not really. And then now I have to figure out a way to showcase these paints in a manner that's going to show what they can do. I guess kind of the undertones, the mass tones, and they have a little bit of a tint going on. So I kind of started this earlier today. So it is still wet, and these are the 4 colors that I have on my palette here. My idea was to then take, because I have a lot more solvent up here that dripped down, and then down here is the paint mixed with a little bit of white for like that tint. And then I wanted to take a palette knife with this and like chunk in some mass tones to where you can see the color in a thicker form. And then I have to do this for all the different sets. So it's going to be the same kind of painting with like, I think, different colors. So it'll be kind of almost like a series, which would be really fun. I don't know. If anybody has any ideas on how to showcase oil paints specifically without mixing them together so that whoever's looking at the artwork knows what color they get, that's the trick. That's what I'm trying to do today. So if you have ideas, please help. I'm going to attempt to do this for now though, and see if this is going to work. But I might need some opinions here. Do I chunk them into like little spots kind of going across? Or do I do it across where that solvent stopped dripping so far, like where there's almost like a line? Do I kind of do that and then let it kind of drip down some more? What do I do? Do we have opinions? I need help. Never heard about that before, but again, okay. So Paolo, do you use acrylics or watercolors or drawing materials? That's the question. All right, where do I go? Line or in the middle? Or like kind of scattered? Opinions? Opinions?
I kind of like the line that you were talking about.
Yeah, up here. All right, we're gonna go with it. That's, yeah. I think something like this, right? Kind of almost like, and then I wanted it to kind of go across a little bit. Only watercolors and pencils. That's still a very tricky medium, that's for sure. Controlling water it's so hard sometimes. Scattered. Okay. I mean, it's gonna be scattered, but I think I like the idea of it being like up here, and then I can maybe get it to drip down a little bit more. Matthew, I do appreciate that though. So I always forget that there's a bit of a delay between me asking you guys questions and you typing. So I swear I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just a little bit of, takes it a second to come in. I think that's good for that color. All right, let's see. I was looking at the canvas and seeing some checkerboard pattern. That would be fun. Y'all, we can play some chess. All right. So I have the undertones, the tint with white. That is still wet, I forgot. Oops. It's fine. It's fine. And then the mass tone. So this is showcasing the paint. I think this is gonna work. This is where my job gets tricky. Do maybe a little bit up here. Ooh, I like when I scrape it down like that. That's fun. All right. Now, if I do, since I'm starting to get really focused here, if I do have any questions that pop through, Amanda's gonna make sure I don't miss them. So, like the checkered print idea, the over under. Ah, nice. Ah, Joylyn, welcome to the art shenanigans. I have this project, and I'm definitely gonna need some help, please. So, don't cover the hidden shadows. Oh, I already did. Oops. That's okay. This is still me kind of testing it out, and I can still redo this, and I still have several other sets that I have to do. Like I have a purple set. I have kind of like I think it's like an orangey red kind of, or no, it's a yellow kind of earth tone set. There's the blacks where I have a couple of really dark colors, and then I have yellows. There's reds. I believe there's blue. There's a couple of them. I'm waiting on a couple colors to come in, so this is definitely going to be a bit of a series kind of a thing. So, ooh, if I know those are two different colors, so if I actually scrape it down, I can probably get a little bit of both. I like that. That's fun. Oof, those colors mixed together though. It's so hard not to mix. All right, let me get over here to this sap green, which is such a fun color. I do like how like these are like the more blue, and then these are the more like yellowy, although this is very desaturated. All right, so. Trying to make it not as like perfect. That I just mixed. Yeah, I'll have it kind of coming over. All right, now we have Viridian. Love it! Yay! So glad, because I was very nervous about this. Now, I think I'm gonna definitely get a little bit of like paint dripping kind of an action. Let me actually do some scrapies too on this one. Here's the deal. I don't do a whole lot of like abstract art. I'm a very representational painter. So when people say, I want you to do some abstract, I'm like, ugh. Which is hilarious because I have Ophelia on the show and she's a very abstract painter and she does not work in representational, but she gets very nervous when people are like, can you draw this thing? And they're like, mm-mm. It's so funny as artists how we were just like, we have our comfort zones, you know? What paint are you using? None of your beeswax. I see what you did, Mike, not Jerry. It is the Lucas 1862 oils. So these are sets that we are going to be putting together online. So this is just a set of 4. This is a very professional oil paint, which is really, really nice. It has a really lovely consistency. But the sets are going to be like sets of the greens, the yellows, the blues. It's going to be really fun. But yeah, showing the representation of the color is going to be interesting. Earth tones seem to be coming in on my request for the 2023 year. Earth tones are lovely and they're so versatile because then you can mix all the different colors in with them. Now, I'm going to be taking some of this Chelsea Classical Studio Spike Oil. And I'm going to actually just bring it on over here. This is why my table's green, by the way. Because I'm just going to... Actually, you know what? Let me get a little bit of it over here on my palette. A little bit soupier. That's why it's also at a bit of an angle today.
So Vermont painting photo said, wait, are we required to be able to draw?
Never, not at all. You do not have to draw. Not even a little bit. So this is a solvent, the spike oil. It's a non-carcinogenic solvent, which is great. But I'm totally ruining all those lovely squares that I just put in. You know, but this is how I get my oil paints to look like that grungy, drippy kind of an effect. But just be mindful that it is going to pile up on my table here. It's okay. Sorry, Susan, you said, hey, Mickey, and now I have that song, hey, Mickey, he's so fun, he's so fun. That song is now stuck in my head. Sorry. All right, let me try not to fully obliterate those squares. I can put in a couple more if I need to. I think. So I'm making sure I don't miss any questions. It's hard to paint and talk and read. Which reminds me, I would not be able to do this without my amazing moderators and crew behind the camera, so y'all make sure you give them some love too. They work hard. Thumbs up for them. Oh, this is so pretty. Ooh, and it's gonna mix. That's okay. I'm alright with that. I'm okay with the drips mixing a little bit. Just as long as the main background is like the pure colors. Right. Alright, let me get actually. It's Bohemian Earth Green is, or Green Earth. Bohemian Green Earth, that is how you say that word. This is just such a lovely color. Oof. I'm really digging it. All right. I think this is going to be the way that I do these. I think this is going to be how it's going to work. It's going to work well. Now the question is, I might ruin this. That's okay. I can put it back in.
Oh, Liz is asking when you're going to France.
I'm going to France in October. So I am going to be going to a residency. It's not in Paris. It's I think like 3 hours east of Paris. It's in a chateau, which I'm very excited about. So in the middle of like nowhere French countryside. So I can kind of, I want to say unplug and focus on my artwork, but like I'm bringing my cameras and everything. So you guys get to come with me. So I'm very, very excited about this. But the idea is to, I really love to paint larger and I love to spend a little bit more time on my art. Whereas like, as much as I love my job, I have deadlines and things that I have to do, you know? So when they need artwork, I have to complete them pretty quick. So I have to complete projects and keep being mindful of how long something's going to take me, because we have a lot of work that we have to do, you know? So I'm very excited to be taking longer on like a larger project is the plan. And figurative work. I really love figurative work, but it's very hard to do here because it does take a lot of time to complete some figurative things sometimes. I mean, I work pretty quick, but it's one of those things where this is a job. I do have deadlines, and that's part of my job. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. I'm going to go get French fries. Does that count? Absolutely. It has the word French in it, right? Okay, so I think I'm going to let this be. I think this is good for now. What do you guys think? Because now I have to do 8 more in different colors.
Well, Mike was asking when we're going to get into that titanium white.
Oh, the titanium white is actually how I did the bottom here. So it's up here is the undertone where it's the solvent mixed, which I should also be a little bit more mindful. This is my spike oil. And even though it's non-carcinogenic, I try to keep the lid on just so it doesn't like overwhelm the building with a lovely lavender smell that some people might not love, you know? It gets a little strong if I leave the lid off for a very long time. Plus it's a very good habit to just be in to put your lid on your solvents. But up here is where I did that undertones, where it's the color mixed with the solvent and you can really see it nice and thin and almost like a glaze, which is why you're getting lighter colors up here. But down here is where I took the color and I mixed in the titanium white. So I'm going to get into that in the next one because I have another one that I need to do. And I'm going to just actually put this off to the side for now. So let's set up for the next painting. How about that? You guys can see the whole process. Should be Emmy. Thank you. All right, let me get. All right, so I'm going to be using it's the Centurion Deluxe. This is a universal primed canvas, so this is great for oils, acrylics, anything really, except for watercolors because that gets a little iffy as far as on canvas. But it's great for oils. So now I'm going to actually take this and just clean up my palette just a little bit, just to kind of get this area a little bit cleaner because I need to switch my colors. And I'm not going to just completely remove that, so I'm going to pop those out of the way. And I currently have in front of me, yes. Doesn't believe this is live. Can I give Elle a shout out? Hi Elle, nice to see you. Well, not see you, but digitally see you. That's adorable. All right, so, and if I remember correctly, yeah, that's Elle and Jerry. All right, so I have in front of me a couple different sets. I have the purples, I have the, like these are the black tones where it's like ivory black, Payne's gray, blue black, and then there's also a warm gray, so like my neutrals. but the darker ones. And then I have my earth tones that are kind of more in the yellow, and then I have the yellows. Which ones do I do?
He said it made her day.
Aww. Ella's adorable. She's a little princess. Very cute hair too. Jerry's has the best frames for artwork. For regular canvas? Yes. Yes, they do. And usually every single Jerry's like actual store, if you go in, there's a framing department as well. So even if you're gonna get a custom frame or a ready-made frame, there's people that do this every single day that can help you get exactly what you need, as far as like if you want to get a mat, if you need to get a mat custom cut, you can get it there too. There's a lot of really great framing options there. All right, so I'm waiting. I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'm waiting for those color options, I guess, to come in. But what is your opinion? Which colors?
On the palette so we can really see them.
I can. All right, so here's my purple options. So this has, well, it's like a purpley kind of red situation. It's alizarin crimson, cobalt violet hue, mauve, and then permanent rose. Here are the kind of black tones where it's warm gray, Payne's gray, ivory black, blue black. And sorry guys, excuse the tubes. They are very well loved here, so they're a little beat up. That's on me. Sorry. These are like the earthy tones, so it's yellow, ochre light, raw sienna, Indian yellow, and burnt sienna. And then I have my yellows over here, which I don't want to stick in my titanium white over here. So cadmium yellow light, permanent yellow light, and Naples yellow. Which ones do I do my next one on? I mean, I got to do them all, so.
We have a vote for purple.
I vote purple, but I also love the grays. So
The grays.
Yeah, I do love all the tones in the black that you just named out.
They are really lovely. That orange label.
Paolo.
Paolo, you make it your split decision here. So good. Although this one, if this is what you're talking about, I feel like I'm very much matching like that vibe today. Like it's a very orangey yellow vibe today. It's just with the background and my skirt. Do the purple.
Let's do purple.
Okay, purple. I mean, I can sit here all day and let you guys vote, but we got painting to do. All right, so maybe I can do both because I do have to get that started. But let me I'm gonna put it, I don't want that green to affect it, but I think it'll be all right if I put it here. There's alizarin crimson. And I'm gonna do the same thing where I kind of leave them in the same order here. Other ways, I might mix it up because in the mass tones, that's why I do love doing like swatches and stuff like this, and this is why this artwork I think is so important. The mass tones all look just so dark. You can't see what the color is until you start mixing in solvent or the whites and then see those undertones and really appreciate the colors. Blacks. So how about this? I can start the purples and then I can also start the blacks, and then while this is like the under painting kind of portion is drying a little, we can work on both. How about that? Sorry, that was the mauve, and then this is permanent rose. So now my table's gonna be a little purple. I'm all right with that. All right, let's get this spike oil going. So I'm going to just break this down a little bit, and I'm totally eyeballing those 4 sections.
Oh, Joylyn has a question.
Yes.
Would you consider this paint consistency to be more like Winsor Newton or M. Graham?
Ooh, I would say it's closer to Winsor and Newton because it has that really nice creamy consistency. Although M. Graham's, I mean, I feel like M. Graham gets a little stickier, you know? But I will say this paint here has beeswax added to it. I mean, not a ton, but just enough to kind of get that body to it that I really, really love. I also find the engram, some of them, because it always depends on the pigment that you're using, some of them tend to be kind of stiff, which can happen, but Lucas, no matter what color you grab, should be very consistent. So this is where that white is going to come in. All right. I'm just going to kind of feather it up just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. The bottom to be a nice tint. Right. And then I'll have that drip down at the end. We use both. We'll give this a try. Nice. Just wait until you see that mauve. That's one of my favorites. It's so pretty. All right,
Yvonne asks, when you use the tape, do you wait till it's completely dry to take it off?
See, that's the part where when it comes to a hard edge painting, I don't do that with oils because it's oils. Like it's like not the right paint for that, you know? And that's why when that was asked of me, I was like, I don't know. That would be really interesting. But the issue being is that oils is a weird one, specifically because of how much it just wants to move and it's got that oily substance to it. So that would be interesting with tape. I just don't think it's going to stick very well. That was the other thing that I was really worried about. But with acrylics, which is normally what I use for the hard edge painting, it's like the perfect medium for it. It honestly depends if I remember to remove the tape. I remove the tape. If I I usually do it before it dries. But if I forget, I found that it's not like a huge deal. Because normally with a hard edge painting, I'm not painting very thick. I'm doing nice thin layers. Now, if you were painting thick, that's where it might be a problem, because if you let it dry fully and you go to lift it off, you're probably going to continue to lift off a larger chunk because it's acrylic and that dries. Think of it like a plastic. Plastic's not going to want to let go just because you have tape underneath it. It's going to get really jaggedy. But with a thin line, there's less of that possibly happening. Why do I feel like I'm not getting the right, yeah.
Yvonne followed up with, what about water mixable oils?
Water mixable oils are still oils. Even though they are mixable with water, you need to approach them like oils. So they still have that oil content, so I don't think you're gonna have tape adhesion very great. Kind of like, I think the oil's gonna just stop the tape from really wanting to stick on. I hope that answered that question. All right, there's that tint. Which is great, by the way. I do love when you guys ask me questions about the unrelated stuff. That's what this whole show is about. You know, because for the Jerry's Live, we have our very specific class where we teach a lesson, and I'm, you know, being specific on things that I'm talking about, and, you know, my moderators know that they can't really derail the show with unrelated questions, so it's hard to kind of answer those ones that aren't related to the show. But that's what this whole thing is for, is that you guys get to ask me anything. And I love that you're also curious. It's great. I have a lot of weird art knowledge, so feel free to ask. Just trying to get that kind of transition a little bit softer. Even though I'm going to have that paint dripping down, I want that to be nice and soft. Not super soft, but it'll work. Here we go. All right. Holy moly. When did it get to be 3:30? Time flies when you're having fun, huh? All right. Maybe I won't get to that other painting, at least on here. That's the thing. This whole show wasn't, not for like a full painting, but just so you guys can see kind of what I'm working on throughout the day. This is that mauve, by the way. I love this color so much. I definitely did not divide this up very well. It's okay.
Vermont Paint Photo said, any question? Do you think tomato is a fruit?
Tomato is, what is it? Technically a fruit, yeah, because of the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're asking if I believe it belongs in the fruit category, no, it's a vegetable. But it's a fruit. But it's a vegetable. Actually, before I do that, I need to just get that white pigment in there, the titanium white. Never use it in a fruit cocktail. The question is really, do you put tomatoes in sangria? That's the most important fruit cocktail, right? Yeah. I mean, if you think about it though, it's probably pretty good. Definitely a lot of pigment on there. Random thoughts number 47. Your family might end up hating you.
Oh, Yvonne just had a fun idea. I don't know if it would be for live or for one of the open studios, but like showing how you might like mess up a piece of art and how you could fix it.
Oh, we were actually just recently talking about that. Specifically, like, we were discussing artwork that's been done and like has some damage on it and how to fix that. But I think the messing it up, because listen, I am the queen of dropping a paintbrush in the middle of my art. It happens so often. So I do like that idea. It's a very fun idea. All right, that's my hair. I'm sorry. My hair just wants to be part of this painting, which is so appropriate. Wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. Somebody make that a shirt or a bumper sticker. You guys are too funny. All right, now here's that permanent rose, which I think is gonna be really lovely with this like much redder color tone with this one. I think they're gonna work really well together. Like almost framing it. That was a little bit of spike oil added to that oil, and just see how lovely this mixes. Now these are all, like me watering this down with spike oil and just how pigmented this is, it's nuts. This is why I love Lucas. It's fantastic. So much pigment. A little bit. not too worried about those little white spots in there. Okay, what a lovely set. It's just a fun bunch of colors. I'm gonna need more titanium there. We have a tomato compote and it's really good. Ooh. Will accept tomato compote. Such a foodie. Okay. So now that that is down, I need to get the pigment off my brush. It's really so pigmented. Excuse me. While I rinse this brush for a million years because there's so much pigment. Alright. I'm going to use this smaller brush. Should be nice and clean. Just to kind of feather a little bit, just in between. Not much, just to kind of just barely blend it, just a touch. And because I added so much spike oil, those really thin areas at the top are already starting to get a little bit dry. Now, not that I can't move them around if I wanted to, but Lucas oils tend to dry nice and quick too. If I were doing a lot of layers on there, that would be those really, really thin layers. Oop, a little bit of a hair. Don't want. Come on, buddy. I like really stuck that in there, huh?
Joy Lynn is wondering if you can use spike oil with other oils.
Absolutely. Spike oil is an oil painting solvent that you can use with literally any brand of oils. You can even use it with the water-soluble oils because it's still a solvent. But the water-soluble oils, you can also just use water. You know, that's the joy of the water-soluble oils. All right, now comes the messy part. I almost stuck my hand in paint. I'm gonna take my solvent jar. Do apologize, I'm gonna try and keep this on camera so you guys can really see what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay. Spike oil.
Vermont Paint and Photos wondering what your opinion is on using makeup brushes for blending acrylics.
Here's the deal. There's some really good makeup brushes out there. I mean, I am a huge fan of use what is available and works best for you. Now with makeup brushes, you know, if they work well, they're going to work well. But it's just, I hesitate to say it's going to be a great brush because like a natural bristle brush, if you get it wet, tends to like flail out, which is not great. And why I'm like, it depends on the brush, really. But like a synthetic one might do well, but like that makeup brushes I've used for acrylics before. I would suggest using them to like fluffy blend is really like, if you're looking for really, really nice transitions and you want to blend, that would do it. But some of the makeup brushes are so expensive. Why don't you just buy an acrylic brush? Does the same thing. It depends on what you have available to you. What I want is for you guys to get creative. So whatever it takes to get you creative, go for it. That is going to mix, and I'm kind of excited for it.
And also for you to tag us and show us how you are creative.
Yes, of course.
We love to
always tag Jerry's Artorama. We love it so, so much. We literally, like, in the office, we're like, did you see this? And we geek out over your artwork. It's the best. This is the best part of my job, is that I get to see what you guys create. Especially when you guys were like following along with a Jerry's Live. Like, that makes me so happy. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the solvent, and I'll do it over here so you guys can really see. And before I add in a bunch of like pigment, I'm just gonna kind of dab it and get that, because that's still technically wet, even though it's starting to dry a little bit, you know? I'm gonna kind of move it around and get it to kind of start flowing again. And then I'm literally like loading it up with solvent and letting it just drip all the way down. Let me get a little bit more over here. Then I'll take that solvent, break it down with my oils and get it nice and loaded with pigment. And then if I touch in a little bit at the top, it'll start doing the same drip, but instead of removing those pigments, it adds it in and gets it darker. And I tend to go back and forth with that, just to kind of get all those little like drippy stuffs going down. A fun grungy painting technique, which is always appreciated. I did not do my solvent thing again. Fast drying oil or acrylic. This is oils. So these are the 1862, the Lucas 1862 oils. So they do dry pretty fast. Especially when you use it thickly. Now, just keep in mind, like if you use an oil paint really, really thick, especially if you use it thinly, if you use it very, very thick, it's going to take a while to dry no matter what brand you're using. Just because that's the name of the game with oils. They dry through oxidation, so they have to be exposed to the air. And because the oils in the top section here is just so thin, that's why it dries much faster, is because that oil, there's less oil to oxidize. So that's why it's going to take much less time. So this stage is where I kind of let that dry a bit. Like that one that I had been working on, the green, I did that around noon. And it's just been a couple hours, and then it was good for me to paint down and get a couple of more layers on top. But this I'm going to do exactly the same thing and just let it kind of sit and chill. So we're going to quickly get started on the darker one. All those other dark black tones. Now I'm running out of space on this huge palette, so I'm just going to peel this page up and move it off to the side. Love that. Clean palette. So good. All right. And since this is being used for the photography and it's only going to be the front of it that matters, I'm not worried about the sides. But this cleans up with an easy wiper, so easy. All right. One more. I feel like I'm speed painting a little bit. All right, so these are going to be interesting just because of how dark they are. But I think it's gonna look so pretty, so moody. This would be a fun kind of painting to do this with, especially if you like vary the stripes and like how wide and like thick they are on a larger canvas, and let it all drip down and like do that fun with a little touch of gold leafing. Guys, it'll eventually look like this, or this, just much bigger. I just realized that's almost exactly what I'm doing is this, only these were acrylics. So swirling it around with a lot of acrylics will do that. This is ivory black and Payne's gray. So these are the two blue ones. This is still a different kind of black medium. Medium for, Karen, you're asking the medium for what specifically?
Oh, she just joined us. She's probably wondering what you're using to make it run.
Are you talking about the oils? Because I was just talking about this too.
Oh.
That's why I was like, are you talking about the acrylics or the oils? Because the oils, I'm using the Chelsea Classical Studio Spike Oil. Now, before this came out, I used to use just my solvent in general to do this technique. This is how I would tone my canvases before I started on them. But I would usually just use like burnt sienna. And then I would make it all drippy and run. And that way, even if I didn't paint the entire canvas, it was still interesting and textured, which was really fun. But the other thing is that I would tone my canvases about an hour before I knew I was going to paint. That way, it's still wet technically, but I could still handle it a little and it would not pick up the pigment as fast because it was a little bit drier. So happy watching you paint with oils makes for my one monster. Are you trying to say you want oils now? Paulo, if you paint in oils, I want to see what you paint. All right, now, before I actually do this again, I'm gonna have a pencil down here. Let me just like quickly mark off roughly what I did the same thing here. There. And there, and this pencil I'm sure will like disintegrate in the solvent too. Honestly, I think this is a different canvas, now that I think about it. Let me double check. Oh yeah, that's Paramount. That's why it's slightly different. Paramount is a cotton canvas that is, again, universal primed. You can use it for acrylics or oils, but that's why there's a slight difference between them. For photography, that does not matter. All right, so this is blue black, one of my favorite colors. Because it's so moody. Eyeballing that-ish. Is that a straight line? Looks like a straight line.
Pretty much.
Straight-ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. I need titanium whites. Acrylics are the happy medium. I feel like there was more to that. Oh, yes, I'm painting in oils. These are the Lucas 1862 oils. All right, again, I'm starting to get a little concentrating on my art, so if I miss any questions, I'll make sure I get them.
Oh, Paolo asked if the spike oil smells like lavender.
It does. It very much does. It's very calming, and which is why Christina and Amanda currently look like they're very zen. It's a very like relaxing scent, that's for sure. Very much.
That lavender is like one of my favorite scents anyway.
It, absolutely, because that's essentially what this is that the gentleman who makes the Chelsea Classical Studio mediums, he had done immense research into kind of the old masters and what they were using, because turpentine wasn't around back when they were painting. You know, that was a petroleum-based product. Like, that's not what they had for sure. So he was trying to figure it out, and there was one journal somewhere that's mentioned the lavender of spike, I think is how they phrased it, something like that, which is the spike oil. And so he started trying to replicate that medium, and this is what he figured out was what they were using. So very, very old school, kind of traditional. This is such a dark color. This is ivory black. Oh, I love it though. It's so pigmented. I'm like, do I need more spike oil? because it is so strong. But yeah, that's what he was doing a lot of research into and finding out what that is. But it is a like a derivative of the lavender plant, which is why it smells so nice. So it's plant-based, which is great. Okay, there's a bit of a glare on my palette, and I can also barely see the gray on the gray. So I'm trying to like move around to see where it is and whether or not it's the right color.
It's almost perfectly color matched.
Gray tone. I love it. Now, because I already have that pigment down on my canvas, it's affecting what I'm laying down, which is why what I'm laying down is such a light color, but it's not appearing so because it's starting to mix in with that the black that I already have down, which is how I get that like nice gradation. But I also have to keep remembering to add more of that white pigment just so I can lighten it up because I already have the dark down. See, it starts mixing in.
Do the water mixable oils tend to smell like oil?
I mean, they're still an oil, so yes. But maybe it's just me. I mean, I'm not very affected by the smells when it comes to this stuff, and I would like to say that's my superpower. But it's one of those things that the smell of oil paints I actually quite like. Maybe that's just me because it's all you're smelling is the oil. It's when it comes to like oil paintings and the smells that you guys are associating with it that's like not great. That's usually your solvents that are like giving you the headaches, and it's not pleasant because it's usually petroleum based and it's a stinky thing, which is all right, but that's why there is the Chelsea Classical Studio or other alternatives. I mean, there's plenty others as well. Now this is the Payne's Gray. Again, very moody, but slightly different. Yeah, those pencil marks really help me out. I'll have to remember that. That's why I also got a couple extra canvases, just in case I have to redo one, because I did not actually divide it up very well. It's alright.
Got about 5 minutes left.
What? Crazy. Alright, well, if you guys do have any last minute questions when it comes to anything art related, or if you want to ask me about tomatoes, feel free to pop them in the chat now before we officially sign off, because we are getting towards the end here. It's crazy how fast this goes, I swear. Oop, there's a little bit of that ivory black in there, but it mixes in and goes away. Enough to where no one's gonna notice. Doesn't really tint that color very much. Alright. So moody. Love it. Now that's warm gray. And then after this, I'm definitely going to need to Well, I mean, I gotta keep working on these. Ooh, this is a very different gray. I like it though. I am going to need to pop over to that Jerry's Live Facebook group and go pop in that palette from that watercolor palette that I've been custom making and curating for when I go to my residency. That's gonna be a lot of scanning in for you guys, because I want to make sure to give you guys the scans of the ones with the pigment codes that are a little bit larger as far as the swatch, but it'll be worth it. Also, if you guys do want to see that post, it's going to be in our Jerry's Live Facebook group, which is free to join. And then I also make posts about the different, like, if I use reference materials or if I make a drawing for a show, you guys can usually find it there, print it out, and kind of paint along. Whenever I do like really fun little goofy things like my chickens on a bike. That was fun. But you can see all those really fun posts there. And it is free to join for you guys. Just make sure you answer that one security question in case you do, because otherwise you are deemed a robot and I can't let you in. And of course, don't forget to also watch me every Tuesday on Jerry's Live. It's going to be, I should probably tell you what time and everything. It's on Facebook or YouTube. It is 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
But don't forget, this week is Facebook only.
That is true. When I have guest artists on, it is Facebook only. So this coming week is going to be on Facebook. So just the Jerry's Artorama main channel, and you can find us there. And if you ever just can't find it, send me a message and I'll link you over. It's nice and easy. Alright, so now I need to get this one drippy just in time before we leave. So moody. Oh, I also usually poll the Jerry's Artorama, the Jerry's Live page for like show ideas. So if you guys ever have any show ideas, and you have things that you've been just dying to see a demo on, you can also send me a message and so go, hey, like, have you ever done a show on this? Or can you elaborate on this? I would really love to see this process. I love it when you guys give me suggestions like that, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to explain all of the art things for you. And make it easy and fun. That's my goal, really. It's just to make art fun. All right. You're starting to see those really lovely warm tones of that ivory black coming through. I think these are going to be really fun, like, little series going on. And what's funny is that you can probably see the, because I've been using this spike oil quite a bit now with the green and the purple kind of painting. And now this one, you can see a lot of the pigments from those previous ones kind of in the solvent that I'm using. And what's funny is that once that dries, you're not going to really see that, because the color that I'm dripping down is going to just take over, in case anybody's wondering. All right, let me get some of these. Why are you not in trouble? Yvonne, what are you doing? Love it. Yvonne's my troublemaker, and I absolutely adore her. Black is so pigmented. I'm so like, do I add more? Like,
And it is 4 o'clock.
Holy moly!
I know, it went very fast.
Time flies, I swear. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I am going to finish up these paintings here, and get them over to photography so that they can post that for you guys to check out on the website, of course. And all right, I gotta put it down. So I can say goodbye to you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Open Studio happens every first and third Thursday of the month at 3 p.m. So I hope to see you guys next time. But next time is actually going to be Jamie, because I'm usually the first Thursday and she is the third. So if for whatever reason I have to jump in or we swap or whatever, maybe that tends to happen sometimes. It happens, but if not, I will catch you guys on the Jerry's Live. Bye!